The Grim Passenger of Doom. It was a damp evening on the narrow gauge railway. Rheneas, the gallant little engine, was resting in the sheds. He had soldiered through a fierce storm earlier that day to get the workmen from the slate quarry home, and was being congratulated by Sir Topham Hatt.
Rheneas, your bravery is a credit to this railway.
Rheneas felt proud, but Sir Handel was jealous. After Sir Topham Hatt left the sheds, he made it known to the others.
Anyone could stand up to wind and rain, but a true test of bravery is facing a ghost.
As if you've ever seen a ghost yourself, Sir Handel. You'd just run away.
Ghosts don't really exist, Sir Handel. They're just stories to scare young engines.
But they do. On my old line, I heard an old legend about a passenger.
Rheneas and Skarloey were interested.
Tell us more.
I was told of a ghostly passenger dressed all in black. If he boards your train, you're doomed to a terrible crash.
Rheneas was silent. Sir Handel went on.
An engine on my old railway had the passenger on one of his trains. A long time ago, the little engine was taking a train through a winding, narrow mountain route. He was running along nicely and being very careful. As he was passing by the cliffside, suddenly, without warning, he derailed and plunged off the ridge. The workmen inspected the rails but could find nothing wrong. The coaches stayed on the rails, but the engine was lost forever.
Rubbish. You can't fool us, Sir Handel.
Good luck on your passenger trains tomorrow, Rheneas.
He's just pulling my wheels.
The next day, Rheneas was pulling his usual passenger train down the line. He wasn't afraid, but couldn't help thinking about Sir Handel's story.
It can't be true. Sir Handel's just trying to get me worked up over nothing.
That evening, the weather was dark and gloomy again. And it began to rain as Rheneas was pulling his last train of the day.
Nearly finished now.
As Rheneas waited by the platform, he saw something that made him shudder. There, standing on the platform, was a man, dressed all in black, and his face was covered by a hood. The dark figure stepped into the first coach. Rheneas was horrified.
Driver! That ghost in black will make us crash!
The driver chuckled.
Don't be silly, Rheneas. Ghosts don't exist.
Rheneas gulped. He didn't want to leave, but he knew he had a job to do.
Perhaps if I go carefully, maybe I won't crash,
he thought as he set off. But deep down in his boiler, Rheneas had a feeling that being careful wasn't going to be enough.
You can do this.
Soon they were traveling through the hills and valleys. Rheneas tried his best to pay attention and be brave, but his worries were getting the best of him. He was so busy worrying that he didn't see a large branch had blown onto the rails. Rheneas applied his brakes, but it was too late. He hit the branch with a crunch, and his front wheels came off the rails. The coaches bumped around, and from the front coach came a loud
Bother!
The black hooded figure stepped out of the coach and walked to the front of the train, his trousers soaked with tea. He removed his hood to show himself. It was Sir Topham Hatt.
Rheneas, what's happened?
I'm sorry, sir. I was worried about that black-dressed passenger on board my train, and I didn't pay attention.
What black-dressed passenger?
Rheneas explained Sir Handel's story.
The only ghost here is the ghost in my cup of tea,
He said, showing his spilt cup. Rheneas smiled. He felt much better. Soon, Rusty came with the cranes and put Rheneas right. And he was on his way again. That night, at the sheds, Sir Handel gave Rheneas no shortage of grief.
Fancy Rheneas being scared by Sir Topham Hatt. Of all people.
It could happen to anyone, Sir Handel,
said Skarloey. Just then, there was a loud moaning, and a black hooded figure appeared in front of the sheds. Sir Handel shuddered in terror.
Oh no, it's the passenger. Oh, help!
He screamed as he shot out of the sheds. Rheneas and the fat controller could do nothing but laugh.
Oh dear.